Here's Chapter 8. One of the most dangerous things in any human nervous system, especially in those with unresolved attachment patterns, is the illusion of clarity. It's the sense that I already know what's going on here, when in truth, you're seeing through a lens that hasn't been cleaned since childhood. Avoidant and disorganized people often swear they know what they want. They talk about alignment. They say things like, I can feel it immediately, or I just know when it's right or wrong. But what they're really picking up on is a nervous system response filtered through a protective pattern, not actual resonance. And this is the tragedy. They aren't lying. They do feel a surge of clarity. It just happens to be a false one. See, attachment trauma doesn't just make you fear closeness, it can make you repulsed by it. And that repulsion doesn't come with a warning label. It doesn't say, this is a distortion. It says, that person is wrong for me. I just know it. It says, they're too much, or something's off, or I don't feel the pull. The avoidant doesn't feel fear, they feel certainty. That's why they run. Not from terror, but from conviction. It took me years to realize that my own repulsion wasn't a sign that someone was wrong. It was a sign that they were close enough to trigger my attachment wiring. I never feared intimacy, not the way the books describe. What I had was an aversion, a disgust, a pushback in the body. And because no one ever described it that way, I assumed it meant the person in front of me wasn't right. I trusted that signal, and I was wrong. Avoidants don't just lose good people, they lose the only people who could ever reach them. Because as soon as someone gets close enough to mirror their inner fracture, they become intolerable. The illusion of clarity kicks in. The mind creates a list of reasons. They're needy, they're inconsistent, they want too much. But none of that is true. The avoidant just doesn't know how to stand still inside real presence without breaking out in hives. And the same is true in reverse. Those with anxious or disorganized patterns often feel a surge of pull, a deep body-level sense that this is the one, toward those who mirror abandonment or inconsistency. They feel clarity too. They feel certainty. They feel fate. But that's not resonance. That's trauma recognition. And if they don't see it for what it is, they'll spend years calling their triggers soulmates. The greatest lie the body tells is the feeling of rightness that comes from a well-matched wound. And the greatest tragedy is that so many people never realize that what they called clarity was actually their trauma nodding in agreement. Real clarity, the kind that comes from a healed nervous system, feels slower, quieter. It doesn't knock you over or flood your chest. It settles, it steadies, it invites. But almost nobody gets there, because almost nobody questions the first feeling. So if you're reading this and you think you know who's right or wrong for you, slow down. If you've run from someone who felt safe and still and warm, slow down. If you've chased someone who left you guessing, gasping, doubting, slow down. Clarity that doesn't make space for truth isn't clarity, it's camouflage.